Hello, and thank you for joining us. This is Nikki Ramirez, the founder at hranswers.org, to bring you another crash course. Today, we're going to talk about how to create a better employee handbook. And when you do this, take these few steps to creating a better employee handbook for your organization. You'll be able to avoid some common mistakes, manage your teams more effectively, and ultimately, we hope that this helps you sleep better at night. A little bit about me and hranswers.org real quick before we get started. Like I mentioned, I'm the founder and principal consultant at hranswers.org. We're a firm based in Arizona dedicated to providing impactful but practical HR guidance to our clients. We also provide employee and leadership training and provide consultation on a wide variety of HR compliance issues and questions as well. I'm a certified HR professional. I have 3 separate HR certifications, including the PHR, the SHRM CP, and a THRP certification, which is a special certification for tribal human resources professionals, providing support to Native American tribes and their enterprises. My experience in human resources and leadership spans over 20 years, started in organizational leadership, moved into human resources leadership about 10 years later. I've served as an adjunct faculty member teaching classes in community college, and do all of it because I hold a strong desire to educate and empower employees and company leaders to work in partnership and to design and implement meaningful HR programs like great employee handbooks that really drive success in organizations. So I hope that we get to know each other better and that you reach out to me after you take time to listen to this crash course on how to create a better employee handbook. Quick welcome to all of you who've taken time to join us. I hope that this presentation will be informative, and of course want to mention that nothing in this presentation is intended to be legal advice. I don't provide legal advice, but it's intended to be educational in nature. So what are we here to talk about today? We are going to go over a few simple areas so that you have an idea of how to put together the best employee handbook you can for your team to drive success in your organization. So we're going to talk about why. Why do we need to work on our employee handbook? Can't we just do it and walk away and put it on the shelf, make sure our new employees get it and look at it every few years? Maybe, maybe not. We're going to talk about that. What is an employee handbook? What are best practices in terms of what should be included in an employee handbook? We'll cover that as well. And how in the world do you get it all done? We're going to finalize our conversation today by talking about that. So let's jump in. The number one reason that organizations have an employee handbook is really to set the tone for successful employment from day one. You want your employees to know that they are highly valued within the organization. Provide them with critical information that establishes your positive approach to employee relations, including giving them important contact information so that they know within your company who should they reach out to if they have a question or a concern. And overall, we hope that your well-structured, well put together employee handbook provides your employees with a generally positive feeling about the company and about leadership as well. Here are some other top reasons that companies have employee handbooks. Of course, we have them to communicate consistent expectations across the organization. Thinking about attendance and punctuality, for example, when we have a standard comprehensive policy that communicates these expectations to employees, it doesn't matter which team they're on, we can rest assured that across the company, employees should be held accountable to the standards that are communicated in the handbook. The Employee Handbook also provides information and background on applicable federal and state laws that apply to your organization. A well-crafted handbook will have policies that are developed with your industry in mind and also your geography in mind. Where are you located and how many employees do you have within your organization? That helps an HR professional to drill down and determine which employment policies are going to be included as a best practice to ensure that you're communicating that, of course, it's your intent to comply with all applicable laws and regulations. Employee handbooks also help us share important expectations, like I mentioned, like attendance policies, code of conduct, when can employees expect holidays to come, what are the safety policies, and more. Employee handbooks also outline employee benefits, workplace rules, and responsibilities. So it's a well-balanced document that provides employees with critical information so that they can make decisions that help them be successful on the job. And last of all, a top reason, a super important reason that my clients work on putting together a comprehensive and well-designed employee handbook is so that their managers and leaders have an easily accessible tool to grab off the shelf or grab off their desktop in order to make decisions about employee discipline and guidance as well. So how does an employee handbook really, come together? What does that process look like, and what are we looking to include as key factors? So in order to make sure that this employee handbook truly is a useful tool for folks within your organization, we go down this checklist with every single client as we develop their handbook. We want to make sure that it's a comprehensive document. It includes information that employees and managers need to know in order to be successful on the job. Should provide them with clear expectations, roles, and responsibilities along the way. It should be easy to navigate. There should be a nice clean table of contents that if you're using an e-document should be navigable on a click basis so that folks don't have to flip through pages and pages of document in order to find an answer to a simple question. The handbook should be specific, again, to the geography that you're located in, so your state and maybe even your local area, depending on what state you're in. You may have special rules that apply. Lots of our friends and clients in California have local ordinances that we have to consider when we craft their employee handbooks, as well as our friends out in New York City, for example. It's always important to look at those local and state rules and regulations and to include them as necessary. Your employee handbook should also be specific to your industry and your company. So what is it like to work in your industry? What is it like to work in your company specifically? And what are the rules that you want to have in place so that your employees can be happy and successful and confident on the job? A couple of things that we want to make sure to avoid as we either revise or create our employee handbook. We want to be careful to avoid language that creates a contract of employment between you and your employees. Contracts for employment should be separate documents that outline terms and conditions of employment. Employee handbooks are really guidelines for making decisions about how to perform and behave in the workplace. Also gives employees, like I said, information about benefits, time off, leave policies, those sorts of things. It really needs to be a communicative tool, not a contract. We also want to avoid having policies and procedures that are different, and that sometimes happens as businesses scale and grow. We know this, and we're happy to help our clients streamline existing policies and procedures that may be inconsistent. So we want to make sure that our standard operating procedures, if we have them, maybe they even just exist in email format, that they complement policies within the handbook, that they don't run counter to a policy that you would like to include in your employee handbook. And lastly, we really strive to avoid overly technical language or legal jargon. You know, that alphabet soup that we sometimes see of acronyms and abbreviations. We try to be very clear and comprehensive in our communication in an employee handbook. We try not to use abbreviations because we're not sure who might be reading it and how much they might personally understand about your industry or about the regulations that you are providing an overview to in the employee handbook. So we look to provide comprehensive language that's really explaining to employees, again, what their rights and responsibilities are in a way that everybody can understand. So when you look at your employee handbook program, so of course the employee handbook is a document that lives on a shelf, or perhaps it's an e-document that your employees receive upon hire and acknowledge electronically. That's one piece of it. The document is one piece of it. But a comprehensive program includes several other moving parts. And so I want to share with you how we handle employee handbook and policy management with our clients as an idea that you can take back to your workplace as well. So in addition to the handbook, we want to make sure that we have a clean and simple way to allow employees to acknowledge that they've received a copy of the handbook and they understand that it is their responsibility to become familiar with the employee handbook in its entirety. And then beyond making sure that they get that form, whether it's electronically or on paper, we need to have a record keeping system for these acknowledgements. We want to be able to, if questioned or challenged or asked, slip our hand easily into a filing cabinet or into an e-folder and pull out the signed acknowledgement from each and every employee that works for us so that we know and we can rest assured, we can sleep better at night knowing that our employees are educated and informed. We do also want to build a program of orientation for the employees who are new to the company. We want them to have an orientation meeting. It can be a recorded session online, or it could be a live meeting with one of your company leaders or somebody like me, an HR consultant, coming into your business and providing consistent, regular support so that your employees are oriented to the employee handbook from week one or day one even. This orientation is a sort of a living testament to the fact that you are committed to the consistent implementation of the policies that you choose to have in your employee handbook. We also like to encourage folks to provide orientation and training for managers that really take deep dives into policies and procedures that are born out of the employee handbook. We want employees and our supervisors and managers and leaders within the organization to understand the rules that they are being asked to hold their employees accountable to. We want them to have a basic understanding of regulations that apply to the company as well. So through a handbook training for managers, we get that information out so that they can make consistent and confident decisions about how to handle questions with their employees. We provide a rollout and an annual orientation for all employees working with us, our clients anyway, and we make sure that we do this so that employees don't forget about the important policies that are included in the handbook and that they are accountable to those policies on an ongoing basis, not just when they're a brand new employee. And as far as a final point, when we determine a comprehensive program for employee handbook management and policy management, we always want to have a current in-house point person for managers and employees to contact if they ever have questions about policies contained in the handbook. So this is an overview of some of the different moving parts, as I mentioned, the different cogs in the wheel, so to speak. You know, this is a full scope method for developing employment policies and an employee handbook. And I want you to consider, again, taking this back to your workplace and ensuring that everyone is well informed and supported as it relates to the employee handbook. A couple of other considerations. We want to be sensitive to the fact that a one-size-fits-all employee handbook isn't necessarily practical. And so we want to consider if a translation to another language might be appropriate. Would it be helpful to have a large print document for folks whose eyesight might be strained? What about an audio version? Have you ever considered having someone record your employee handbook so that folks can click on and listen to each individual policy to get the information that they're looking for? And like I mentioned before, and I can't say it enough, regular meetings to orient new employees to the policies, we really want to consider getting those on the calendar, as well as an annual employee handbook meeting and refresher course as well. So when we work with clients to help put together a comprehensive, full-scale employment policy and employee handbook program, these are the ways that we team up and collaborate to help our clients save time, save money, and really reduce their stress. We provide full consultation and an HR business analysis to help our clients build comprehensive custom handbooks. We look at developing policies that are aimed to communicate your intent to comply with federal and state regulations. We have a contract attorney that works with the team at hranswers.org to review each of the policies on an annual basis to ensure that they are a solid starting place for every client. We also provide hands-on, on-site, and virtual assistance to our clients by providing employee seminars and manager training so that employees and managers have all of the pertinent information that they need to know to make great decisions and be accountable in the workplace. And we also do deep dives and help our clients to produce accompanying procedures, forms, and strategies for compliance with their policies across the organization. So if you have any questions about how to build an effective, better handbook for your organization, I hope that you don't hesitate to reach out and contact me at your convenience. Our team is always ready to talk about best practices in employee policy development, and we are ready to jump in and help you out if you have a goal on your list to have a revised, updated, or new employee handbook in the next year. So please reach out, connect with us on LinkedIn, give us a phone call, or drop an email. We are here to help. We really appreciate you stopping by and taking this quick crash course in how to create a better employee handbook, and we can't wait to hear from you soon.